Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to get started in just a minute, but for now, we'll give everyone a couple moments to come in and get settled. I always think that it's fun to get started by just writing in the chat where you're joining us from, so I will go ahead and go first. Missouri, Kansas, awesome. Seems like we're going to have, Texas, the Bay Area, Kentucky. Wow, a very great bunch of people today. Hawaii, wow, the Jersey Shore, awesome. Another California person, Alaska, wow, we really are all coming from all over the US. It's so exciting. Since it's going to be about 2 minutes after the hour, I'm just gonna go ahead and share my screen and we can go ahead and get started. Just a quick reminder that throughout the presentation today, if you have any questions or comments, you can always just send them in the chat. And yes, let's get started. Hi, everyone. My name is Lindsay, and I'm a marketing specialist at OpenStax. And today I'm joined by Arvind, Clifton, and other members of the learner team to discuss strategies and tips for teaching math with an integrated OpenStax textbook, other algorithmically generated questions, and other classroom engagement tools. So most of you probably already know what OpenStax is, but if you're new to OpenStax, there's a few key things you're going to want to know. So first and foremost, OpenStax is a nonprofit, and we're part of Rice University, which is based in Houston, Texas. We are a nonprofit, as I mentioned before, and we're able to offer our free resources due to grants that we receive from foundations, individual donations from individual donors, and mission support fees from our technology partners like Learner. So anytime one of our users pairs one of our free textbooks with one of our technology partners give us a small mission support feedback that helps to sustain our work. In addition, OpenStax is mission-oriented, and our work is centered around transforming education so that learning works for every single student. Lastly, our main area of work focuses on publishing our library of 45 plus free, openly licensed, peer-reviewed textbooks. Since we first published our first textbook in 2012, we have saved students over $1.7 billion, which we're incredibly proud of. Now, you just heard me say that OpenStax offers free, openly licensed textbooks, but what exactly does that mean? We have a fantastic definition up here on the screen from the William and Flora Hewlett Foundation, which is an absolutely fantastic supporter of OER. And in essence, open educational resources, or OER, are any educational materials that are publicly available, don't cost anything to use, and don't have any restrictions on them that limit how users can modify the content. As I mentioned before, one of the main components of OpenStax is that we offer over 45 free textbooks in the areas of math, science, the humanities, the social sciences, business, and college success. All of our books are designed to meet the standard scope and sequence requirements of their respective courses and are both written and reviewed by industry experts. Each of our books also goes through an extensive editorial process to ensure that the content is up to date, clear to understand, and diverse and representative of different audiences. Lastly, each of our books receive regular editorial updates. Instructors can submit editorial suggestions on our website for our subject matter experts to review. In addition, we update our books when it's pedagogically necessary. So if there is a major development in a field, we may publish a new edition entirely. But throughout the year, we also make smaller updates to the web versions of our books to ensure that the content is consistently up to date. Lastly, our textbooks look a lot like other textbooks that are out there on the market. However, unlike textbooks that aren't OER, OpenStax's textbooks are 100% free and are available under an open license, so instructors like yourselves can modify, revise, and rearrange the content any way you'd like. Here at OpenStax, we offer much more than just textbooks. For instance, each of our textbooks come with free instructor and student resources like LMS course cartridges, test banks, and lecture slides. Additionally, we also offer free webinars and blogs on a variety of topics like developments to our textbooks and our technologies and strategies for teaching with our resources. Another way that we help instructors is through OpenStax Tutor, our own flagship courseware platform, as well as our support center, which is a really excellent place to learn more about OpenStax resources and to learn the answers to any questions you may have. Lastly, we offer OpenStax Tech Scout. We know that digital technologies and content are essential for teaching, especially in today's hybrid learning environment, and that finding the right use for your course can be very challenging and time-consuming. We hear you, so we decided to streamline this process through offering a searchable tool on our website where instructors can search for courseware, labs, simulations, homework, etc., that align with each of our textbooks and that meet your specific teaching needs. And Learner is one of the learning technology tools that you can find through Tech Scout. So as part of our work to make education more affordable, like I mentioned before, we partner with learning technology companies like Learner that offer low-cost, high-value technology resources. In the process, Learner helps to enrich the OpenStax experience for instructors and students alike, and helps to provide the financial resources that we need in order to keep our books up to date and accessible for all. Now, that was just a little bit about OpenStax, what we do, and how we're affiliated with Learner. And now I'm going to pass it off to Arvind to talk about Learner Math.
Thanks, Lindsay. So hello, everyone. Let me just share my screen real quick, and we'll get started. All right. So yeah, we'll do a quick 10-minute, maybe less than 10-minute introduction, and then we'll start off with a small demo, and then hopefully have a whole bunch of Q&A questions from you guys. So that's the agenda: quick facts, some of the best practices, a brief demo, a summary, and then discussing questions. So we are a social impact startup. Our mission is to democratize the cost of course solutions without compromising quality. We build personalized courseware, homework solutions, and engagement tools for the class to basically measure efficacy, increase engagement, improve student learning overall. And everything that we do is 100% aligned to OpenEd. Okay. We have a library model for all of our personalized courseware. And the goal for our company or our startup is to, by 2025, we want to have all the 100 to 300 level STEM courses in a library model where it is completely commoditized, where students or the department only pays $80 for the seat, and it has access to everything that we offer. One second. So some of the quick facts about Learner, and before that, a little bit about myself. So my background is, for the last 21 years, I've been in the education publishing industry. I worked for Pearson for over a decade. I built their first learning management system for K through 12. Then a lot of the platforms that you're familiar with, MyMathLab, Mastering A&P, Mastering Bio, those are all platforms where I've architected. And of course, they have evolved over time. I left Pearson exactly a decade ago now. And I started after, went after this goal of creating something that's affordable. So in 2016, we partnered with OpenStax, and here we are. So some of the quick facts about Learner is all the courses that we build are custom courses. They're aligned to your pedagogy and syllabus. So we don't, you can pretty much mix and match any chapters and sections that you want in the titles that we offer, and that becomes your custom course, and we build that for you. It's a white glove service. So all the questions and activities that we built are from scratch. We do not use any of the OpenStax banks. There is integration that can be done with Canvas, Blackboard, any of the LTI capable, LTI 1.1 or 1.0 capable tools. We integrate with all of those, where not only do your students and you get to do a single sign-on, but all the grades automatically sync, both for our homework as well as our tests, and also for our live poll. So we have a live polling solution as well, and all of that can sync back to your gradebook. All students get a 2-week trial to accommodate students, ensure that everybody gets access first day of class. We are available 7 days a week for the first few weeks of the semester, because we want to make sure that everybody is getting the help that they need. And after that, they're available 6 days a week. And we do have a learner give back program. We work in a lot of different community colleges where there are students that are disadvantaged. And the goal is, if students cannot afford learner at all, then the instructors or the department typically identifies our students, and they'll let us know, and we give them free access. So we're talking about college algebra. These are some of the quick facts. Again, we have a whole bunch of questions or question templates, and each of these question template generates, a numerous number of questions, algorithmically. So it's all variable based. So essentially, we want to ensure that no two students get the same questions, and they also get as much practice as they want. And we have a lot of videos also integrated to these questions, specifically the ones that are pretty difficult, so that students can understand that and hopefully understand the concepts. I will show you some of the smart textbook capabilities that we have during a demo. We have some of our algorithmic questions also embedded in line, so students can read the text and then practice, which is very atypical of any student. Usually students don't do that. The last thing they want to do is read a textbook, but we have it nevertheless, so that the students that do want to do it can. So assessment content, all of our text quizzes or questions are aligned to the main textbook, the OpenStax textbook. So we are very tightly integrated with OpenStax or any text that we create. We have over 15 question types, everything from expression-based questions to plotting, charting, and so on and so forth, which I'll show you in a bit. And every single question, as part of remedial content, is also linked back into the textbook, so that if a student is not getting something right, they can always go look at an example of how it's solved or a video of how it's supposed to be solved, and then come back and hopefully answer the question. You can, as I mentioned before, build homework, your formative assessment and tests on Learner. You can customize quizzes and activities. You can add your own apart from what we have. You could also build assignment templates that you can share, reuse for the next semester, or share it with other faculty members. And people who are not using Canvas and using Blackboard or any of the others, I think Brightspace has gotten a little better. Let's say you're teaching 2 or 3 class sections of let's say college algebra or any of these math courses. You'd have to recreate all these assignments or copy and paste and all that. With Learner, you don't have to do any of that. It's create ones and then assign it to as many class sections as you want, and you can share it with other instructors, so they don't have to again redo the whole thing. And all of our submission is automated. Again, we want you to spend more time in helping students versus doing repetitive tasks. And with Canvas, we also create deep links. So assignments actually show up as hot links in your assignments module, and students can simply click on that and go do their assignments. Apart from homework that is asynchronous, it doesn't matter if you are, it's an in-person class or it's virtual, and because virtual and online is becoming the new norm, or already has become a new norm in a lot of colleges. Live polling and lecture slides are great ways of making sure that students are paying attention, right? When you have a Zoom meeting, and I'm sure most of you have seen this, that I mean, some instructors want everybody to be on video to make sure that they're paying attention. But when there are 35 students on the, on the video, who are you looking at, right? So the best way to make sure that you make sure that your students are engaged is by giving them something to do, interact with them where they're answering certain questions, different types of questions, obviously, and getting some responses. So there's some best practices where you may want to give them participation points just for participating. You want to make it anonymized so that, because of peer pressure, that they're not like, oh, I'm not going to answer this question. And then you can also give some carrots by giving them some more points for efficacy, right? And even with your lecture slides, I'm sure that in your case, most of you might simply be solving a problem, but you still have some amount of theory. Again, the goal is that you can embed activities in between your lecture sessions or your lecture slides, and then I have students answer the question by picking up their mobile phones or their laptops and then answering these questions. All the content that we have on our platform is ADA compliant. Of course, we don't have any 3D models in the basic algebra-based courses, apart from any image-based and 3D model-based activities, which cannot be compliant if you're trying to explain the image, but it's not relevant to math. So in most cases for math courses, we're ADA compliant. So all of our math courses are priced at $20. It combines the entire OpenStax textbook, the homework solution, the test tool, as well as the classroom engagement tool. So you don't have to have point solutions. For example, if you're using for live polling, are using the old clicker days, or Zoom or Kahoot or Top Hat or Nearpod or Quizlet, doesn't matter. I mean, there's so many tools to pick from. With Learner, you get all of that. You get live polling, you get a homework, a solution, and all of that integrates back to your LMS. And that's really nice. And then we have a library model, which is $80 for all courses per year. It's a seat-based model, and we are working on inclusive access programs with a lot of different institutions, where all the courses that we offer, it's very similar to a Netflix model, if you will. It's a one single fee, and it's a seat-based model, which aligns to software licensing, where let's say a student, let's say you give the seat to a student for the fall semester, and the student drops out, the seat becomes vacant. You can offer the same seat to a different student in spring. And again, they get access to all of our courses. So time for a live demo. I'll just quickly switch gears here. So typically when let's say you click on your Canvas or Blackboard or whichever LMS you're using, and you click on the learner link, you'll get to your courses page. Let's click on college algebra. So we have the interactive textbook. We have some practice quizzes. Most students will not look at the textbook. They will not go to the quizzes. They will not do any of this, right? They will simply go to assignments and start doing the assignments. But let me just show you our rendition of the OpenStax text. So for those of you who are already familiar with the OpenStax text, the left-hand side is the textbook. And on the right-hand side, we call this the Genius bar or the adaptive sidebar. Let me pick a chapter section. And as I'm scrolling through content, you'll notice that on the right-hand side, content keeps adapting to the text. So what we've also done is, like I mentioned before, we have curated videos. We've obviously built our own adaptive quiz. And we scroll to the bottom. You also see a whole bunch of questions that you can practice, right? Because it's an iterative approach. And typically when we start building a course, it takes us 3 to 4 years to get it to a state where we say, okay, this is 95% perfect. And later on, it's just going to be minor adjustments. I think we are in the first year right now. So we are doing a lot of different iterative approaches here. We have questions that are in line where students can practice in line like this. Let's try it. I'm just invalid notation. It says submit. I can look at the answer keys. So essentially, you can practice either in line this way. So we're trying both ways, or we're also putting it in the adaptive sidebar here, where it opens up as a pop-up and they can answer values. And they get the keys. And of course, they can watch videos either here. And these are all the videos that are also available here. So there's different ways where students can practice by themselves without you assigning it. And as you know, with most of the students, they will not do stuff unless you assign it to them. So what we can do is shift from this textbook mode into assignments. So essentially, I'm just going to stop here for a bit, and we'll see if, are there any questions, Venkat, that anybody has with respect to the textbook? And then again, continue with the demo again.
Hey, sorry, I was on mute. Can you hear me, everyone?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a general question about alignment with OpenStax with respect to,
Correct.
but it's getting answered.
I see. Okay. Yeah, I think this is the OpenStax text. Whatever we add is something like this. Let's try this. So it's an inline question so that students can continuously get different values of this. So the goal out here is to build an experience that is a combined experience of the text and some of the stuff on the right. But apart from that, as I showed you in the dashboard, we have all these other pieces, right? The practice quizzes, the My Bank, where you can build your own questions. We have a live solution where you can upload your own lecture slides and embed activities, and I'll show that to you in a bit. So there's a whole bunch of other things that we've done along with the OpenStax text. All right. So let me quickly go to one of the practice quizzes that we have. So again, this is a plotting activity. I can check my answer. And I didn't get it right. So in order for me to go, to learn more about this, I can click on my reference link here. Like I was mentioning it to you before, we tag every single question to a specific area in the textbook, right? And then I can go back and take the activity or the quiz again. Okay. So again, the goal here is to help students practice as much as they want, and also give them the solution, and explain to them how this is being this particular problem can be resolved or solved. And we either go to a more difficult question or an easier question, depending on how students are responding to these questions. And of course, most of these questions, because they're algorithmically generated, most of them are application-based, but they'll have different difficulty levels. And if there's a problem with any of these questions, you can simply click on this report an issue. And you can let us know what the issue is. This goes directly to our editorial team. We work with our authors, and then we get this resolved. Our turnaround time is typically about 24 to 48 hours. So we don't take months to get back to you. And Venkat, please stop me if there's specific questions related to the quizzes or anything in general. Students can also go to the video section here and look at all the videos. All of these videos are curated for solving different types of problems or different concepts. And they can watch these videos in line. Again, we want to reduce the amount of effort both instructors and students take to either record your own videos. Let's say there's a question on hyperbola. I mean, there's thousands and thousands of videos out there. You don't have to re-record the whole thing unless you want your voice to be there. But the goal is to help the student learn. So if there's already something available, we make it available. And it's also ADA compliant. It's 508 compliant, has closed captioning. So we take care of all of those things. So you can focus more on remediation versus trying to build these types of videos. So let's go to assignments real quick. If you're already familiar with the OpenStax textbook, the nice thing about Learner is all the stuff that I showed you, whether it's videos or activities or quizzes, all of them can be reviewed or previewed while you're building an activity or while you're building a homework or a test. Okay, so let's create a homework assignment here. I'm just calling it ellipse. So you can tell your students what to study. You can go into more detail here, and you can say, you know what, I'm not gonna focus on graphing ellipses not centered at the origin. Again, I'm just giving you a nonsensical example, but you get the point. You're in complete control of what you want your students to study. Not that they're going to study just because you told them to. They'll only study it if they don't get it right, in the homework, and then they have to go do it. So here, you can click on analytical geometry. We have about 31 different questions. You select those. So typically, our adaptive quizzes, if you leave it by default, they ask students 6 to 10 questions. They pick from these question templates, and obviously every single student gets different values. So the chance to copy is not there unless they're collaborating and they know the steps and they're trying to follow the same steps. So once that selection is done, you can even custom pick and choose what you want instead of the quizzing engine trying to pick stuff. You can say, you know what, I want to pick the question templates myself. So here I'm just saying graded is yes. If you don't do that, students are not going to do it. Most of the students are not going to do it. So for the ellipse, let me just customize this particular quiz. When you expand the bank, let me just zoom in a little bit. You get to see all the questions. You also get to see the Bloom's level. In this case, most of them are application based. So you can click on any of these to see what the question is. Okay. And again, because it's generated algorithmically, we are just showing you for this example what the answers are. And they're not going to get this exact example anymore, right? Because it's randomly generated. And then based on these questions, you can cherry pick like what you want your students to do as part of their assignment. So one of the nice things with math is you don't have to worry about copying anymore. And finally,
Arvind,
yeah.
there's a question on the feature related to the study component. Can you just touch upon that?
Okay. Is there a
study component on the beginning of the assignment? You have these components.
Right. So the study component is really you're picking from the OpenStax textbook on what the students need, what is covered in this particular assignment. Like, what do they have to study to do the assignment? So that's what this study component is. So the study component is nothing but you picking and choosing the chapters and sections that they need to study. Students need to study in order to master the assignment. Videos are very similar. If you pick videos, it shows videos here as preview. And like I told you, you can preview pretty much everything before you assign it.
Welcome to your next lesson on quadratic relations.
And if you feel that these videos are good enough, you can say that, okay, you can watch these videos before you do the assignment. Does that answer the question, Venkat?
Yes, it does. Yes.
Okay, cool. So you'll see here that the study is, what happens is on the student view, they get to, when they open the assignment, they'll say, study this, maybe watch these videos, and then do these quizzes. In reality, having experience for the last 20 years, they'll first do this. If they don't get something right, then they'll go and check out the videos or go back to the textbook. So it's always the reverse of what you expect them to do. Anyway, so now once I've customized the quiz for ellipse, it says customized, makes it easy for you to identify which ones are adaptive. Somebody was asking me, these are adaptive quizzes. We use the item response theory, a 4PL model. So with math, I think we're only using 2PL because we still cannot discriminate. We need to calibrate questions, as you know, to find, first of all, we need to calibrate questions to see if there's two exact questions and which one is more discriminatory than the other. So essentially, even though the algorithms are using 4PL, the two variables are constant, specifically for math. For biology, we are using 4PL because we have a lot more experience in the last 4 years. We've collected a lot of data for this. It's only 2PL, I think. And ask Venkat if that's not working. He's the one who's built it. Okay. All right. So I give some grade points, and these are the points that get transferred to your gradebook. Okay. And finally, when it comes to creating class, selecting class sections, remember I told you that if you're not in Canvas or the new Brightspace and you're teaching multiple class sections, you don't have to create your assignment 10 times on Learner. All your class sections show up out here. You can have different start dates, end dates, or the same start date, end date. You also can extend for a specific student. This is for accommodations. And let me start something in the future. So essentially, if it's a future start date, students don't see this assignment till the assignment is current. And you can give grace period, just like every other assignment. The only difference is we do have a sliding scale for only the quizzes that are completed late. So if I give 2 days, 20%, so every day they're late, they lose 10%. And they only lose that 10% for the quizzes completed late. So let's say out of these 3 quizzes, 2 of them are completed on time, and only 1 quiz, they haven't done it on time. Students basically are penalized only on this 5 grade points, or whatever they achieve out of that. All right, so I'm going to save this. And I can publish this assignment right from here, or I can go to my assignments module, and I have a whole bunch of other assignments here, and I can publish it from here. Okay. So even though I publish it, for whatever reason it failed, demos, unfortunately, but it works well on production. One of the things that you need to understand here is once you publish an assignment, you can build templates out of it. So when I click on a template, this template can be shared with other instructors that are teaching the same course. Not the same class section, but the same course. That's all. That's all you need to do. And this template can also be modified by you, customized, tweaked. So the next semester you can, probably modulate questions. But the goal of these templates is for more collaboration. Because let's say there's a new instructor that has come in and you want to normalize all the assignments across the college. You share these templates and the other instructor will simply go click on assign, select their class section, select the start date, end date, and then publish. So essentially we have made assignment creation for the following semester and also for new instructors where you want to have some normalcy, like online bill pay, right, for banking. So you don't want to recreate these assignments 20,000 times. All you do is click a new section, enter the start end dates. So for the upcoming semester, it becomes super easy for you to assign or create assignments. So let me show you some reports that we have. So I think, Anna was doing some testing, so she named everything after her. These are all the quizzes that students have taken. You can always reset attempts right from here. If there's a specific student who comes and asks you for help, then you literally can go into every single quiz that the student has done. And let me find something where she was not doing great. Okay. And click on show responses. So you could literally see what the question was, or what the question that was generated and the responses that the student provided. Because again, every single student will get a different value. So you want to make sure that you help the student based on what you're seeing on the screen. So that's to do with assignments. This is your asynchronous aspect of it. The synchronous side, and before I start, again, are there any questions about assignments and homework in general? I think we already answered this. Is it active? Yeah, our adaptive algorithms are used across all of our courses. The 4PL model for IRT, it's item response theory. I think it's difficulty, discrimination. Then, we also measure rate of recall. So if the student is guessing versus the student is being careless or the asymptote. So we measure 4 different parameters in order to figure out what's the next question we need to pick from the bank to provide to the student. So, and that's what we were talking about, the 2PL model. Anyway. So you can build static questions. So if you want the same question to appear for everybody, like the exact same values, well, first thing, if you want the exact same questions, I already showed you that you customize the course, right? You customize the quiz. Let me go back into the ellipse. So in the practice quiz mode, the ellipse, we customized it. We clicked on customize. So here I picked specific questions. So these are the only questions that the students will get. And now, if you want the same values to be provided, the values for of the question should be exactly the same. That's not how these algorithms work, because it's generated dynamically. Now, we have not received any request that every single student get the same value for a specific question type. That is something that we could build. It's actually pretty easy for us. It's not that difficult. If we find a lot, I mean, again, like I said, this iterative approach for the next 4 years, if somebody says, a lot of them say, hey, we want the exact same question, the exact same values to be given to all the students, then we will build that into the homework solution. But now there's one more thing, there's a catch. We are working on building live polling using the same algorithmic question generation with a live polling. In that case, every single student will get exactly the same question with exactly the same values. But if we want to also make that available for homework, that shouldn't be a problem for us to build if there are enough instructors that really want it. Because in a synchronous classroom mode, again, it's up to the instructor. Once we have this capability to do live polling with algorithmic questions, instructor might pick and say that, hey, just use the formula, let everybody get a different answer, or everybody gets exactly the same values for the same question. It's up to them. And in that case, everybody gets exactly the same question, but obviously people can collaborate and copy. So let me, we have 20 more minutes. I want to leave 10 more minutes for Q&A. I'll show you the live platform, which is your live polling. So you can build live quizzes and slides. What I did not show you is for assignments, you can also build your own questions and mix and match those questions with the questions we have. So in these quizzes, this is something that you can build yourself. You can have everything from a short answer, multiple choice, diagram matching, sorting. We can also have a whiteboard and fill in the blanks. Now in fill in the blanks, that's where we're going to integrate the math engine so that we'll have a functional keyboard, like not a traditional keyboard, but a formula-based keyboard, a latex-based keyboard available. And let me show you if there's any other question here that actually in slides. Okay. So here there's a slide deck on functions. So you can upload your own slides. And once you upload your own slides, all you need to do is say create, upload slides. And then if you have a PowerPoint or a PDF that gets uploaded, all the slides show up. And you can embed questions like this into your slide deck, right? In this question, you can have a numerical question with a tolerance, but not allow sometimes negative numbers or only allow positive tolerances. Of course, multiple choice, fill in the blank type of questions. You can have questions where there are specific areas where students have to click on a specific plot or a quadrant. So again, there's multiple question types. And with math, like I mentioned to you, once we make our algorithmic questions also be imported into the live polling platform, all the questions that are available for your homework will also, those question types will also be possible in the live polling platform, which could be everything from plotting to answering questions, formula-based questions or expression-based questions. Okay. And the way you do this is now you can beam your slides, and I might be preaching to the choir. If you've already used some of these lecture presentation-based platforms, you already know this pretty well. You can require a password for attendance, and then students will have to enter the password. You can see the number of attendees that are attending the session. When you start your beam session, you will be able to see, you'll be able to annotate on this slide. You can also create a whiteboard, and you can navigate to multiple slides, either in this fashion or this fashion. And then finally, you get to ask them some questions. So the goal out here is to get responses from students. And Our platform, our live polling platform, works really well with both mobile as well as desktop. And the students, what they have to do is they have to go to the assignments module and then click on the live poll, which is available, and they can be graded accordingly. So in the interest of time, we actually had a live polling webinar last week. If anybody's interested more in live polling, we can actually forward that particular demo where I think there was over 20 or 30 participants we gave them a live polling demo and they did a role play as a student. We can pass that on to you so you get to understand a lot more about this. All right, so let's quickly switch back from the demo back to our slides. So these are all the courses that will be available in math for the fall semester and in the future. And every one of the math courseware will cost students only $20, and that's going to be fixed for the foreseeable future. So if you want to schedule a live demo with me or with one of our customer success agents, it's lrnr.us/demo. Some of the future roadmap, we are working on building step-by-step questions. So rather than a single answer based question, we want to break it down into steps to help students remediate better. I already talked to you about formula based questions for live polling. We, just like my math lab, we want to build a question builder that enables with the math keyboard. It's a little challenging because what we're doing is all using Python, and now we need to figure out a way to expose that into a form-based approach. Again, the best thing to do is, if you already need specific questions, if you just let us know, we'll build those questions for you. Unless, of course, if you're also a geek like me, and you want to tinker around, we'll try to build that functionality for you. And we are also working on building applied math problem sets for contextual learning as well. We have excellent customer feedback. Our customer support is next to none. So we might not be the best platform today for math, but you can expect us to be the most responsive company that will take constructive criticism and work towards improving our platform and offering. So from a hero's journey perspective, you schedule a demo with us, you get a 30 to 60 minute demo. You already seen a portion of it. If you need more, just schedule a demo with us. Then we'll give you a demo account. You can test drive it for as long as you want with both an instructor and a student. And just because you've attended this webinar, for anybody who's attended the webinar, we will give you a free term to try it out. When students don't have to pay anything, we'll take care of your LMS integration. Just sign up with us for a demo, and we will be able to, if you are interested in Learner, we will be able to provide you a free term to use Learner courses in math for your next term. And once you test drive the adoption steps, you tell us your course and how you want your course to be built from multiple titles. We'll build that for you. And then we can again get into an onboarding session. It'll usually take 60 to 90 minutes. If it takes more, we'll basically spend the time with you. On the back end, we'll work with your admin team, IT admin team, or LMS admin team to get the LMS integration done. And then you'll be all set. So thank you so much for your time. And if there's any specific Q&A, I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. We have 10 more minutes. Okay, are there any questions that yeah, single course is $20, or the library model is $80 for the year. Students, once they have access to a course, the only things that they lose access to is the homework and the basically whatever homework they've done and the gradebook at the end of the term, because we don't want them to share that homework with their juniors or somebody that they know. So that way you don't have to recreate your homework every time. So they still will have access to everything else. And if they fail or they get an incomplete and they come back the next term, they don't have to pay for a full year. Yeah, so the live polling demo, just schedule a time and we'll be able to show it to you. Well, we can create that, right? So like I said, so Luis is asking, it sounds like getting homework questions with the exact same questions and the exact same values is not easy. It's actually very easy, right? We were more concerned about students copying from each other. So we literally can, fix everything. So let's say, and for live polling, we have to anyways. Live polling, if an instructor is trying to do a live poll, ideally you don't want to have one question template with like 10 different values, then the instructor doesn't know who got it right or who got it wrong. So for live poll, we have to do it anyways. And our platform already supports it. It's just a matter of turning a switch and saying, okay, once the first student has requested the question, every other student who gets the same question will have the same value. So yeah. I think I showed that already, Luis, where yes, you can customize the questions in the homework, where let's say you only want to pick, you can select the questions that you want and only have them as part of your homework. Any other questions? And Luis, I think we can give you a personalized demo to showcase those specific use cases so that you're better convinced that it's possible. Does the instructor have the ability to toggle between fixed or different values? At this point, no. With live polling, yes. When we have live polling using our algorithmically generated questions, yes. And also with all the static questions that you can create and the static questions we have, yes. With all the algorithmic questions at this point for homework, you cannot do that. But as I said, if there are many instructors asking us the same exact feature, it's something that we'll add to the roadmap and we'll build it out sooner than later. Thank you, George. Does anybody else have any other questions? Okay, Michael says, when you assign the sections to study in an assignment, can you link the material outside the text? When you basically build an assignment, there's an instruction section where you can pretty much add any links, any text from the outside. So you can literally link it to anything, it doesn't have to always be something that learner has. And you can also add notes, favorites, highlights into your text. And we will be also exposing another functionality. I mean, today students can also highlight, bookmark, and take notes on the platform, very similar to what OpenStax also allows you to do. But we're also building capabilities to share. As an instructor, you can share those notes with your students, and those notes can have links to, or highlights can have links to an external resource. Any other questions? We have 5 more minutes. Is there a setup in the homework space to let students show things like synthetic division and long division with polynomials? Let me think about it for a minute. Show things, like students to show their work in these cases. Okay, so this becomes a multi-part question. Remember the step-by-step solution that we were talking about? So let's say there's a problem and there are multiple approaches to the problem. We are exploring ways of, if there are multiple approaches to the problem, one is being prescriptive, saying that, okay, these are the 5 steps that you need to follow. And let's say I do not know how to do this. The hint will be the next step. So we would like to give them steps. That's the step-by-step solution or the step-by-step question that we were talking about. That's a multi-part question where we can either be prescriptive or ask them specific questions at every step. So that's can systems of equations be graphed? Yes. Yeah. It is possible today. Yeah. It can be graphed, like my students to show their work in these cases. Yeah. So in those step-by-step questions, what you say is possible. But now let's say you're asking me, I'll give an expression and they need to give me everything, all their work that they have done to deduce the answer. And the answer is no, right? So we have to make it into a multi-part question where we're expecting something to be filled in every blank that is indicative or representative of the steps. And we can do that by hints or by changing the question itself to a multi-part question or step-by-step question. But if you're simply saying that I'll give them, a question and I need to see all their work before, how they got the answer, we can't do that. But those are great questions, Louise, by the way. Well, you get a demo account. So anyway, like I mentioned to you, you can schedule a demo with us. And then once we understand your needs, we can build a custom, we'll build a demo account for you with an instructor and a student account. And then you can play around with it. And if you like it, you can also use it for a free term to see if it works for your students. Thank you for some great questions. And yeah, that the URL that's provided by Angels, you can just click on that, schedule a time that's convenient for you, and then we'll showcase it in much more detail. We'll also have our math editor because sometimes, I might not know 4th grade math. So just to make sure that there's somebody that is competent on the demo to answer your questions, we'll have them on the call. Yeah, I think we already talked about adaptive. We are using a 4PL model. Oh, absolutely, Luis. We can wait till after summer, maybe, to do the demo, for sure. And if you want to use it for the fall semester, you can get a free term. There is no demo link, Chris. It's actually, we create a demo account to you along with the student and instructor credentials. So, okay, students, how do they pay? We work on both inclusive access models where either the department can buy a license, 100 seats license, or it works very similar to Alex or whatever, your McGraw-Hill Connect for Alex or My Math Lab, where students basically use their credit card or they can buy access codes through their bookstore. So we work with all models. And Chris, please schedule a time with us so that we understand your needs and we can definitely, create a demo account for you and then provide it to you. So thank you so much, guys. And if you have any questions, I'm just gonna type my my email, or actually, that's my email. That's if you send an email to the customer support team, they typically route it to the folks that can answer the question. So please send us a note and then we'll follow up with you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you everyone for attending our webinar today. And thank you, Arvind, and the rest of the Learner team for yet another fantastic webinar. I feel like I always learn so much new and exciting information from you guys every time you host one of these interactive demos. So thank you so much. And I hope that everyone has a really wonderful rest of their day.
Hey, thank you, Lindsay, as always. Bye.
Bye, everyone.